We're live. Yes, yes, yes. We are here. We do it for the culture radio, and we are your hosts. I am Calvin, your boy lover. Main and Tina, introduce yourself to the lovely people, please.
What's
Hey
happening,
everybody.
people? Main and
Hey,
Menace in the building.
it's Tina here. Hi.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, this month is PTSD Awareness Month. So, I feel why not? Let's talk
Yeah,
about PTSD, right?
yeah.
Let's get into it, but we're also going to tap into a little bit about the policing in America and a little bit of recap. Let's do a little recap about what's been going on with the protests. Let's do some recaps about what's been going on with the George Floyd situation, funeral, any updates going on with that. Ahmaud Arbery, any Breonna Taylor, but yeah, so we're gonna be jumping around a little bit, whatever. But we're gonna focus on PTSD awareness month as well as some policing in America because there's been some changes going on. They're talking about defunding the police, all kind of stuff. So we're gonna talk a little
It's
bit about
crazy.
all of that stuff and get into it. Um, Tell your mother, tell a friend. Uh, we're gonna grab your popcorn because we're gonna be jumping right in as soon as we come back from this break. So get ready to join us. We do it for the cultural radio. We'll be right back, y'all.
All space viewing control with our moving and storage solutions. Pack what you want. We store it for as long.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to We Do It for the Culture Radio. Had a little technical situation there, had to get that right. We do it for the culture radio where our stories matter. And we're going to be discussing a little bit about the PTSD. That's because it is PTSD Awareness Month. We're also going to be talking about policing in America. It's a lot been going on since the George Floyd situation is making a lot of noise. It's called some type of, we're looking at different types of laws that's being implemented, police reform. They're talking about police defunding. There's a lot going on. This is causing uh, what the people are doing this protest, this is causing the Congress, the Senate, this is causing America to react to what's going on. But we're going to get into that. But before we do, let's talk a little bit about PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, right? Post traumatic stress disorder. I hear a little bit, mostly in the military community, PTSD, but let's be real. A lot of us are affected by PTSD. There's no way to get around it. It can be something that you experienced in your childhood. It could be something that you saw, went through. But a lot of time, it's affiliated with the military community, and I can understand why. Because when you get into the military, they do see a lot of things that regular, ordinary civilians don't see when they go overseas. These guys are 18, 19 years old, firing a gun for the first time,
At
shooting
someone. Yeah.
at someone. Sometimes you firing guns at kids sometimes. So it gets kind of crazy out there in the military life, and what they go through is it affects them as they get older in life. Speaking from personal experience, like my father, retired. My father did like 20, 28 years, I believe, in the military. Retired first sergeant. He was airborne. He was first division airborne. He was a Green Beret. Uh, Went through all kind of stuff in the military. He's a Vietnam War veteran. Seen a lot, done a lot, been through a lot of things, and I have to honestly say that I've seen it personally affect his life. In so many different ways. He'll never be considered what they call normal anymore. From what he's seen, being a Green Beret and doing some of the things he's had to do, even just jumping out of planes, just going through all that, man. His feet are messed up so bad. His brain is. The nightmares I've seen him go through, whatever, and just messed up his relationships, not with wives, with his kids. His PTSD has affected him where it's messed up his relationship with his kid. He can't keep a marriage for nothing because of everything that he goes through. And it's all because of PTSD. Now, Jermaine, I know one of your sons now in the military. He's not an infantry yet, nothing like that, is he?
Yeah, he's infantry. He's airborne.
Oh,
Airborne
okay.
infantry. He was actually in before COVID-19 hit. He was in Ranger School. He had did the airborne part already, jumping out the plane with the parachute and whatnot. And then he went on to be a ranger. Then COVID-19 hit, so he had 3 weeks into Ranger School, and then they're like, "Okay, you got to stop because of the virus. And when the virus goes away, you have to start over and start the 3 weeks over again." He's skeptical on that because he don't want to go through the same thing all over again. He's been there for 3 weeks. 3 weeks is, through some type of training like that. I think it's a I think it's an 8-week program. So he's like basically halfway through. I'm not sure how many
So,
weeks it is, but he had some
so,
time in. So start over. It's like, come on, I don't want to do that again because of some shit he can't control. So
well, what does he have to start over again? You mean jumping out of planes again, or just learning? The whole
no,
process.
he graduated from airborne school, but now he's going to
Okay.
go do the ranger part. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
like, top notch for that
Yeah,
branch.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
And he is in the army, right? That's the branch. That's what branch he is, Army.
yeah, he's in the army.
Okay, okay, okay. Any of your family in the military at all, Tina Medina?
Not for a long time. Like I have uncles, older uncles who were, but I had a cousin who I think it was in Afghanistan, but no, nobody recently. No.
Okay, because I know. I got a brother that was in the Coast Guard, and my other brother, Muffy, was in the Navy. But I've dealt with a lot of military people throughout my life. I had a good friend, Chuck Matthews, was a Marine. He dealt was that? He dealt a lot with PTSD, and it affected him um, psychologically a lot with his family. It's like I don't know. It's like I see them having a hard time functioning in civilian life. I mean, as they go through that, when they come into civilian life, it's hard for people to make that transition once you suffer from PTSD. I don't know what it is about them being able to make that transition, but it affects their lives, and you know, they can't function like normal people.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, like you see these things, and then it's just like it's hard to go from seeing these horrific things to being like, I care because I didn't put this report together right for you at my job. Like it's hard to kind of, I think, I imagine. I mean, I've never been through it, so I can't say for sure. But like, I can imagine it being like this life and death, like crazy, like humanity, like it's your humanity kind of a situation to move from that to like, I care about printing the right font on this report for you, Mr. Boss. Like how do you go from that? Like it seems impossible to me almost.
Yeah, but I know for a fact, I mean, this hasn't really been I don't want to downplay some of the wars that we've had since what was that? When was the Iraq war? The one with the father Bush was. What year was that? That was the Gulf War, right?
That was in the 90s, I
Like
think.
90, yeah.
Okay, was that the
Yeah,
last
92. My
real
cousin was in that
major?
I think it was 92 or something like that.
Was that the last real major on the ground war? Because I mean, do we really count 9/11 or that? Because that was really most like an airstrike, right? Like when was the last time we really had?
Nah, they was on the ground.
Go ahead.
They were on the ground out there.
For 9/11, for the
They
9/11
was on the
joint.
ground.
Okay, what about and
Yeah.
also when they went after Gaddafi, right? That was also ground infantry.
I don't know about that one. I think that was airstrike. I don't know. I know that. I don't know how that one was. That wasn't even a war. They just killed him, didn't they?
Well, they had to go.
Wasn't that Hillary Clinton and them?
They had to go to war with his people. I mean, they wasn't just gonna take Gaddafi without no fight.
Nah, they sent strike. That's like Obama's last term, right? And he sent some strikes over there and they killed him. I don't know when they killed Gaddafi. I know they tore Libya up real quick.
But what about
I don't know if that was
Saddam? What
before.
about Saddam Hussein? That was ground war, right? Was that ground war, Saddam Hussein? Because I know he got a military. Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, he got a military, but his shit got shut down. He was hiding. I think they went and got his ass. They went and got him at like around 9/11 or some shit. Not 9/11, like Barack Obama's time, right? So there was no real war going on. I mean,
That's what I'm trying to say.
that was like a spillover from the Bush era.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't want to downplay with these other guys, these other wars, what they're going through, because a lot of them are like airstrikes, and they're not really going in there and going to war. Where when you got
but I mean, we're not aware of what's going on the ground, though.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
that's
I don't think that there's not any ground movement. I just think that it's not at the scale of that, like World War II, Vietnam, Korea. It's not like at that level. But I think that there's still boots on the ground. So like I just don't think, it's maybe not as many as we're used to hearing about the bigger wars. But I think that there's guys are out there still.
What I'm saying is like when it comes to like literally seeing cat's head being blown off, you know what I mean? Something that you see that's gonna psychologically mess with you forever. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I saw a guy get his head blown off. Something you don't see every day. I mean, stuff like that causes PTSD. Like, I don't know if you guys know Augie T. We call him Augie T. His name is Edwin Nelson. I've spoken to him a few times about the situation. You probably guys don't remember. It was around 1986 when one of our friends, his name was Curtis McDonald, got shot in the head by a guy named Everett. You know Everett, man, the minister, right? Tina, do you know Everett?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember him.
Well, he lives over on a street over that street over from Weber Drive. I can't remember what the name of it. Elm. Whatever. In any event, uh, Edward Nelson was driving a car, and they was on their way to the party. Edward was in the back seat of a car, and he had a gun. He was messing around playing with the gun, and it eventually went off and shot Curtis in the back of the head. And I talked to Orgy T about that. I said, "Well, do you have nightmares about that?" And he says, "Man, you never believe. Like, I have nightmares all the time about, you know, just seeing, Kurt get shot in the head and just his blood being, and
Was he driving?
he was driving the car,
Oh my God.
and and they kept, they told." Stop playing with the gun. In the backseat, stop playing with that gun, man. You know what I mean? And eventually the gun went off, shot Kurt in the head, and and Augie T says, "Yeah, I got that vision in my head all the time about looking over and seeing his head up against, the window, and looking at him saying, 'Yo, Kurt, stop playing,' thinking he's playing, but this guy's literally, you know what I mean? He's dead, been gone. You know what I mean?" So it messes with you. So, and I know I've seen some things growing up on the block. I've seen cats being shot at. I've seen all kind of stuff. In the 80s, Travis Avenue was crazy during the crack epidemic. I've seen a little bit of everything. So when a lot of times when I talk to people from Brooklyn and the Bronx, whatever, and they say, "Oh, you from Port Chester?" I said, "Listen, dude."
Yeah, they think they super tough, right? All the time.
Yeah. I've seen some things. Whatever you've seen, trust me, I've seen it, and probably worse on Travis Avenue. Ain't on Weber Drive.
Yeah, but there's not a medal for whose life is harder. I don't understand.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I was gonna say.
You can't
They always
talk like
act
you
super
you
tough.
can't talk to people from Brooklyn though, because Brooklyn, they'll tell you Brooklyn's are like Puerto Ricans. They'll tell you where they're from right away. Right, right.
Glorifying the drama.
Brooklyn will tell you they're from Brooklyn in a hot second. You meet them in 10 seconds, you know they're from Brooklyn. So, but like it's just like you don't get a medal for whose life is harder. You just don't. Like it's just like my life is hard, your life is hard, whatever. Like I don't understand why people think that you get a medal for that. Like okay, yeah, you see people die.
No, because their life is harder, so they think that they're harder than you.
No, it's not though. How do they know that? People die everywhere.
Yeah, that's right. Because it's so rapid. It happens all the time in Brooklyn, like every day. Like protests don't happen every day, but still today it's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like just as bad. That's why.
And Port Chester, not for nothing. Port Chester is a village.
Yeah,
right.
It's not even. It didn't even qualify to make a town.
Don't say that. Oh my God.
Port Chester is a village. It's a village of Port Chester, and the Port Chester got its own kind of crazy. So, like, I don't know. Anyway,
exactly.
I mean, and again, it's not as I love my Puerto Rican friends. Let me tell you something, but they will tell you they're Puerto Rican in a second. But the same way is that it's like my hard isn't better or worse than your hard. So, like, can we just like all like figure it out?
But they think they think that we don't see the things that they've seen in the boroughs. That's what they think. They just assume that. Yeah. You know what I mean? I try to let them know, listen, dude, whatever you've seen, I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? I've seen cats get shot at. I've seen cats get shot. I've seen it all, dude. So there's nothing you can tell me that I haven't seen. So when I talk to people like that, and I'm like, yo, the stuff that I seen growing up, it affected me. It affected me with schoolwork, all that. Imagine being in a classroom and you trying to, you're trying to, the teacher calls on you to do a problem or whatever, and you done dozed off. Your attention span is totally gone, and what you saw the night before. You know what I mean? It affects with you. You're like, oh man, I saw whatchamacallit get shot. I saw whatchamacallit get bleached stone in his eye. Like, oh man, that was crazy. So it affects you. Not only that, but in real life, I remember when after my accident happened, it affected me for years. Like my memory was shot for a long time, and it's still like the '90s for me was a blur. My injury happened in 1991, and so for the whole '90s, hospital after hospital. I was in every hospital in Westchester County, from Valhalla, New Rochelle Hospital, United Hospital, Mount Vernon, bed sores, at least
Damn.
5 surgeries just to try to get the bullet out of my spine because it was a delicate situation and they didn't. If they did it at the wrong time, I didn't get it right, then I would be a quadriplegic. So just surgery after surgery, the bed scores, skin grafts, muscle flaps. The 90s was a total blur to me. But
Calvin, would you mind telling us like what happened? I never asked because I feel like it's not my business. But if what
I
happened?
don't gotta ask. I was outside downstairs on Purdy.
You were there?
I wasn't there. I was on Purdy Avenue.
Oh my
it
goodness!
Tina, it was a few events. It wasn't just one. It wasn't just one night. It was some things that it was like
Led up to
concurrent events that led up to it. So to give you a quick synopsis about what happened, I was selling crack. You know what I mean? And I wind up selling crack to a dude's wife, right? And I had sex with a guy's wife, whatever. I sold the crack and I had sex with this dude's wife, whatever. Man, I ain't never scared. His name was Fifi. You probably don't remember Fifi. Tina,
I
do
do.
you? He's one of the Fifi boys, whatever. But even I slept with his wife, whatever. I gave him crack, whatever. We call that tricking back in the days. We tricked.
Mhm.
So in any event, him and his brother Papu, they cornered me in the mailbox section of Travis Avenue, whatever. And at the time, I would pay this as a guy. His name is Michi. Michi was my bodyguard. I would pay Michi a bottle of crack every couple of hours, whatever, just to make sure he had my back and was always there around, whatever. So at this particular time, I think I sent Michi to the store or something, whatever. So they corner me, they get me good, right? So I'm in the corner, whatever. He said, "Did you send my wife me this crack, whatever?" And
Shame.
and I'm like,
What up, man?
I'm like, nah, I didn't say you about that crack, man. Yeah, Shay, I'm gonna come with you just 1 second, Shay. I'm just finishing up the
Right.
story real quick. So I said, nah, I didn't sell your wife that crack. He said, all right, follow me. So they bring me. He's in the
Kidnap your ass.
Papoose is in the back. They got me. They bring me on the valley. They bring me upstairs, whatever. They bring me in the back to the bedroom, and he says to his wife, he said, now if my wife tells me something different, it's gonna be a problem. So he goes over to his wife and he says, is this the crack that he sold you? And I already denied it. Said, nah, I ain't selling. I ain't giving nothing. So she says, yes, Calvin, just tell him the truth, Calvin. He's going to kill us, bro. Just tell him the truth.
They already kicked their ass.
I'm like, yo, she's lying. She's lying. I was like, yo, stop playing like that. He said, I'll tell you, fucking tell you, if you tell me wrong, I'm going to fucking kill you, motherfucker. Right? This is how he talks, Tina, right? So he goes over to the garbage can. He pulls out a hammer, like a real hammer that you hammer nails with, right? And he says, come on here, motherfucker. Put the goddamn hammer on the fucking table. So I'm like, yo, Fifi, don't do this motherfucker shit. He be like, oh, I have motherfucker, put your motherfucking hand on the goddamn table. So I put my hand on the table, right? Tina, this shit ain't funny, Tina.
Sorry, you're like
You sound like an episode of fucking. Yo, what the fuck?
I'm sorry. It's not funny. It's not funny, but your accent is killing me. Okay, I'm sorry.
I put my hand on the dresser. And he goes to hit my hand with the hammer. Of course, my instincts tells me to move my hand, right? So I move my fucking hand. And I move my so he put your motherfucking hand back on the motherfucking dresser. If you move your fucking hand, I'll hit you in your fucking head. I'm like, yo, Fifi, don't do this fucking shit, Fifi, man. You watch me grow up, Fifi, don't do it. I want him to put your fucking hand back on the motherfucking dresser. So put my hand back on the dresser again. He goes to hit my hand again with the hammer. And I move my hand again. I can't see my hand getting hit.
He keeps on trying.
Fuck, I'll tell you if this is the fucking laptop, if you fucking move your hand again, it's gonna be a fucking hit. So now my eyes are scouring the room like this shit is happening. Papu is in the doorway, and I'm like, this nigga's about to kill me with this fucking hammer. So I put my hand back on the motherfucking dresser again. This nigga's about to fucking hit my hand with this fucking hammer. He about to break my fucking hand. He goes to hit my hand again with the fucking hammer, and I move my hand again. And only this time, when he went to go put this motherfucking hammer back to in my hand, I'm like Tony Dorsett and Herschel Walker all in one. I run full speed in the papoose, in the doorway, run this motherfucking down. Let me tell you, Tina, I'm so scared, right? I'm so scared. You know, when your adrenaline's going, you don't know what you can do, like. So my adrenaline, I run all the way to Rebel, non-stop, right? No stops, no stopping, no breath. I run all the way to Weber. I run to JT. I'm like, yo, JT. So I get JT because me and JT at this time were kind of partners, whatever, with the crack situation, whatever. And so me, JT, Peanut, Coach Cheese, whatever. It's like 4 or 5 of us, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm spraying them niggas, what happened, whatever. Like, let's go. We going back to Travis. Let's go. So JT got the shotgun. And we goes over to Travis Avenue. So we calls out to the window, yo, JT calls up at the window, yo. And Fifi looks out the window, so I'm coming down. I eat 22s for lunch. I'm coming down. So you guys, me, Ed Blatch, who I was talking about before, whatever, me, Ed Blatch, JT, Peanut. But before we even get to the window, Coach Cheese, Coach Cheese was wild back then. He sees Papoose and he just hits Papoose in the face. Boom, punches Papoose in the face. Go get your fucking brother. So when Papoose Fifi, people's like, I'm coming. I eat 22s for lunch. I'm gonna try to make the story a little bit story, but listen. So he comes downstairs, right?
Long story longer.
Yeah. So Ed Black like yo, Cal, what you want to do? Because JT's like ready to pull out the gun. So Ev was like, no, chill, Jay, chill. So Fifi comes downstairs like, yo, Ev was like, Ev was like, yo, what's up, nigga? We can get the one-on-one. I said, no, I want Papoose one-on-one. Let me get the one-on-one with Papoose, Ev. So they're like, all right, cool, because Ev was gonna take on Fifi, and I was gonna take on Papoose. So I was like, let me get the one-on-one. The niggas trap me up. They want to say, let me get my one-on-one. I go one-on-one Papoose, whatever. I'm giving them the business. My dick beaters is nice, right? So I'm giving the nigga the boom, bang, 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 bang. And all the niggas kept saying is like, yo, don't let him grab you, Calvin. Don't let him grab you. So I'm making sure this nigga don't grab me, right? But Fifi's walking around behind me. And I'm yelling to JT and Ev, yo, listen, he keeps walking behind me. Can't get this nigga. He keeps walking behind me. He's distracting me. And and he walks behind me again. I look to see what Fifi is doing, and Papoose grabbed my ass. See the big nigga grab me, and he falls on me. I can't breathe. So they break it up because the police starts coming now, right? So the police come. I'm gonna end it like this. But 4 straight days, he knocked on my door. Tell your mother, get your casket ready. You're a dead man. I'm gonna kill you when you come out. I'm gonna tell you. All right, Fifi, knock. My mom in there trying to sleep on her. He knocks on my door again. This is like 3 or 4 straight days. Tell your mother, get your black suit ready, nigga. You're a dead man. You're a dead man. So I go outside. I get up with JT's, right? And JT hates this story because he feels like he's responsible for me being in a wheelchair because if it wasn't from him, he gave me the bullets. Knew what I was going to do to Fifi. So JT, we go to Sealand, me, him, Lou Blackwell, we go to Sealand, we get the bullets, right? I got a 32 automatic. I'm about to put the whole clip in this nigga. So the night they give me the bullets, I'm downstairs in the bushes on Travis, waiting for Fifi. Somebody said he went to Hubba Hubba's, right? So, all right, he got to be coming back from Hubba Hubba's. I got the clip, whole full clip. Yo, man, the minutes. I'm scared of this nigga. So I'm about to put the whole clip in him. I'm scared. I've seen him eat bats and all that. I'm putting the whole
gangsters.
So hour goes by, he don't come around the corner. 2 hours go by, 3, 4. I'm sitting there waiting. I'm not going.
Was in the bushes for 4 hours?
Listen, for 4 hours waiting. I'm putting the whole.
That's commitment right there.
I'm around the corner, putting the whole clip in him. I'm scared. I'm putting the whole clip in him. After a while, I guess I think I probably fell asleep in those bushes. But anyway, the next day I find out this is when he went to jail because he sliced the Luso taxi driver. Do y'all remember that?
I think I remember that.
Yeah, that night he called a Luso taxi down to downtown. And
I think I was out of Portchester by then.
When he got downtown, he sliced the Luso taxi driver's throat. And that was the reason why he never came back around that corner. Because if he did, I would have put the whole clip on him. So he went to jail. He did like maybe 17, 18 years, whatever, for that, whatever. And so me and Twice get into it. And he tried to hit me in the head with a bottle. I go upstairs and I get my gun. And when I get the gun, I come back downstairs and I say, yo, Twice, You want me? You got me. Get away from everybody else. Let's do what we gotta do. Twice doesn't move. He's over there. We got Don Bam Bass, a few other cats, whatever. They over there kicking them like, yo, move away from this so we can do what we gotta do. He doesn't move. So now I've asked him 3 times. So I tell Dom, I said, listen, I've asked twice, 3 times to get away from y'all. He hasn't moved. So now I'm giving y'all the opportunity to get away from him. And nobody moved. So I said, fuck it. All y'all can die. So I hit the clip of black. And I bust over at them in the back, from the parking lot to them over in the backyard. And they all hit the ground. So now I'm scared now. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to jail for a fucking long time. This is it, nigga. I know I shot somebody because they all hit the ground. Somebody done got shot. So I'm scared now. So I start, is that my drink? So I put the gun to my head and I pull the trigger. Nothing happens. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why didn't the gun go off? Now I'm not an experienced gun user. I don't know what a delayed discharge is. I don't know what. I never heard of that before. You know what I'm saying? So when I put the gun in my head and I pulled the trigger and it didn't go off, and I was trying to figure out why it didn't go off. That delayed discharge, it went off, and I wasn't holding the shoes. So when it went off, I lost control of it, and it just shot me in the chest, and it paralyzed me on the spot. And that was it. You know what I mean? I didn't feel a thing. All I know is woke up days later, whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know if I was comatose. I was they sedate you, all that kind of stuff, whatever. This is days later. I wake up and I see Squirrel Face, and he starts going crazy. He runs out. He opened his eyes. Yeah, opened his. You know what I'm saying? And that was it. But it traumatized me though. For years after that, if I hear a muffler go off, any type of loud noise, I'm scared.
Right.
My heart's beating, whatever. So it affected me, gave me PTSD. But anyway, I want to welcome to my boy. He is a military veteran of the Air Force. His name is Shane Pratt. He is joining us today. Give a warm welcome for my boy, Mr. Shane Pratt. Yo, Shane, give it up for my boy.
Hey, what's up?
Big Pratt.
Oh my God, that's Shane Pratt. I haven't seen you since high school.
You didn't see him since he went to the
Oh
military.
my God, that has been
That
such a long time. Look at you, you're like a dude.
Yeah. Yo, hey, Tina, who he look like? Tina, Tony Atlas, right?
Who does he look
He look like Tony Atlas, right?
Tony Atlas, the wrestler.
He is big as hell, though.
Yeah, I'm back at it.
Hey, yo,
Weren't you in like the medical? Weren't you in like medical in the military or something?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Hi.
What's up?
Man, hey, yo, Main the Menace. Where's this homeboy Rocky Johnson at?
Oh,
Rocky Johnson.
No, I ain't even talk to. Oh, you stupid! I thought you talking about Jay. You bucket.
Yo, he said Rocky Johnson. That's the Rock's dad, ain't it?
That's the Rock's dad, Rocky Johnson.
Dad. He said Tony Atlas. Yo, that's crazy. Mr. USA or some shit he had a name, right?
USA, for sure.
Word.
Hey, what's going on, man? How's everything, man?
It's all good, bro. I ain't got no complaints.
Hey, man, we sitting up here, we're talking about it's PTSD Awareness Month, so we were talking about PTSD. I was giving my story about what happened to me, how, me getting shot, whatever, how it affected me for years. Right. The gunshot, the noises, my memory was gone for a little while. I can only remember certain things about the past, whatever, but over time, pictures, stuff like that, I was able to get that back, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But it affected me in a lot of ways. And it still does. I'm going to tell you one way it affects me. I don't fear death. And I don't think that's normal. You know what I mean? And I think once you've been on your deathbed, for one reason or another, it doesn't matter. Once you've been on your deathbed and you've experienced that, it makes you kind of like, it feels like you feel like you're immortal. Like, I don't fear death. I don't fear a jail cell. I don't fear nothing like that. I don't fear a man. Like, even when I wasn't paralyzed, I felt like as long as you got 2 arms and 2 legs, I can't be afraid of you because I feel like you have nothing that I don't have. As long as you got 2 arms like me, I feel like I got. So I've never really feared another man before, but being in a chair after being shot, you be like, oh, I took a bullet. I can take anything. You know what I mean? So that's a form of PTSD. You think, you fucking damn, you crazy, motherfucker. I mean, it affects me in a lot of ways, but you being in the Air Force, tell me some of those things that you've seen or you've heard of as far as PTSD is concerned.
Well, first of all, everybody processes it differently. For me, my situation, I was deployed. I was in Iraq, and when when I saw my first body, it was a dude that when he came in, he first of all, I was in a mid-level trauma center, so everybody that we saw that was coming through was stable, and so this dude came in. He was actually DOA, but it was how he came in. Normally, when people come in, the army, they kind of tight. They're real tight. So when somebody come in, they're already stable. They shot up with morphine. And so a lot of times they come in, they happy, they giggling and shit, joking. And you wondering why the fuck. And then you realize they got that happy juice in them.
Right.
So, but anyway, so then they come in with their team, however many, they might come in with 10, they might come in with the whole squad. But this dude came in. Number one, he came on a surveillance helicopter. He didn't come in on the Black Hawk, the medical medevac joint, and they basically told us that he wasn't breathing, so we could kind of mentally prepare for that. And but at the same time, we saving everybody, so we good. So we like, all right, if anybody could do it, we could do it. So he came, I was on the little team, went out there, got him, brought him in and everything like that. And like I said, all the information, you processing it, your mind is all over the place. You like, okay, why is he coming in on this helicopter? Why is the litter so fucked up? Because they had to throw some shit together, because it wasn't built for medevac. And so so now we get him in, and he's in the ER, and you asking questions. You're like, man, like, where's his team at? What was the situation? And everything like that. And so people start guessing and deducing, because you only get you only get the information that the need to know information. You know what I'm saying? Certain people need to know certain people. All you need to do is go get the motherfucker, right? So anyway, so all the speculation was that he got separated somehow, right? And we know these cats are so tight. We're like, all right, well, he got separated. The surveillance helicopter saw him. They went down there, picked him up and whatever. But, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, okay, but where is his team at, though? And we like, so for me personally, the thing about PTSD, like I said, everybody processes it differently, is that it could be one incident. It could be one traumatic incident that gives you PTSD. It could be a cumulative thing. It could be you went through whatever. You was getting beat up as a kid or whatever, and then finally something triggers it, type of thing. Right. So for me, it was, I'm in the military. I'm a, Air Force, not downrange, not in the war zone, but just, stationed wherever. And, somebody stabbed you in the back, or whatever. It was like real cutthroat. So I was like, God damn, they say motherfuckers supposed to be tight in the military, and this is some bullshit. So now fast forward to this situation, I'm like, the Army's real tight and everything like that, because they front line. And then I'm like, damn, like, but this is life or death shit. And they just left this dude, man. That's how you feel. You don't know what the real story is.
Right. They might have had to leave him, right?
You speculating. You don't know how he got separated. It could have been a firefight. Everybody trying to save themselves or whatever. You don't know. So, or it could have been an IED. Everybody got blown up.
Oh, did we lose Shane?
Okay.
Now I'm back.
Okay.
But again, if you don't have all the information, then you draw your own conclusion. And so to me, I was feeling like they left him, and that kind of fucked me up. that shit kind
So
of fucked me up because I was like, shit, like even down range, like
But I
so
think
does
and
that's how we I mean, I've never been in the military, so I can't say. But I
yeah,
think that's our perception, that like no man left behind thing.
exactly.
We see this all on the movies, right? Like like everybody, like you bleed for your brothers, like you do all this stuff, and then like but I don't know what I would do.
yeah. So
Right,
when you
right, right.
has that affected you long term seeing that dead body, Shane, when he was brought in?
It, every time I talk about it, every time I think about it, it it just makes me think about loyalty and shit like that. Like, so how it affected me is trust. Like, it's hard for me to trust people, like,
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. The biggest thing
gotcha,
is it's
gotcha.
hard for me to trust people. But other than that, it was, whenever they had like suicide bombers and shit like that, even though we had these big ass concrete barriers and they had layers of them or whatever, and we was like 2 miles in, whenever them shits go off, that shit shake everything. And
Wow.
then it shake everything. So like you were saying, that the noise from the gun and everything like that. So it's like, when I first got back, whenever a truck would drive by and
Yeah, yeah,
whenever a truck is close, you feel the vibration and shit. So yeah, but
yeah,
yeah, so that's my story.
yeah. We want to welcome
Jay
serial
Black,
entrepreneur, the
aka
owner of Essence
Natural.
Lounge in Tacoma, Washington.
Yes.
Natural Allah, also known as JT. If you're from the hood, welcome JT to the hood, to the show. Everybody, give a little love for JT real quick, y'all. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
JT.
Yes.
Now, let me just say, let me
Peace
just
of God.
Trying to
disclaimer
log
real quick
on my
before I start.
laptop, man, because I know y'all probably gonna have a hard time hearing me on my phone.
Yeah, you know we're gonna have jokes for you on that. But let me just say something before y'all start. I don't want no shit out of y'all
Hey,
too.
Jay,
'Cause I know how y'all do. I don't want no shit. Shane and Jay, I don't want no shit out of y'all. I'm telling y'all before y'all start. All right.
I'm still at
Yes.
work, man. See, this 3 hour time difference is different for me. It's different over here than over there.
Hey, ain't gonna be nothing but jokes.
I know how y'all two do when y'all get together. So I'm just putting my disclaimer. I don't want no shit out of y'all two, man.
Yo, Black, you got some barbecue sauce on your chin.
Stop playing, man.
You got some oxtail on your under your fingernail.
I just want
Okay,
to make it clear.
Oxtail
I just want
juice
to make
and
it clear
shit.
that Pratt started.
Jay. Okay, Jay. I gave them a quick story about my happened with my about what happened with my
It
injury,
wasn't
right,
quick.
Jay?
It wasn't quick, but go ahead.
Okay, so I gave him a little synopsis about what
See,
happened with my injury, Jay, and I
I,
told them how it kind of affected you because
rusty
you
ass
kind of
gun.
felt, huh?
I said, with that
I told
rusty
them,
ass gun that I told you not to throw away.
yeah, okay, you always got jokes about that guy, and then, but I told them
Yo, stupid.
how it affected you because you for a long time you felt like you were to blame. You know what I mean?
Yo, Black.
Mm.
Yo, Black. You
Because
said you gave him some rusty bullets. That's why he shot himself. Why you do that shit, man? That's fucked
yo,
up.
You know, my shits ain't never been rusty.
He said you got them shits from under your sink
Hey, you see who started?
in the
You see
fist
who
grease
started?
can and shit. Got them
yeah.
shits out the fist grease can.
So I was telling him how you felt like it affected you for for years, whatever, because you was like, man, why did
Mhm.
I get him them bullets, whatever. I mean, you may, but for me, I'm like, yo, I needed you to look out for me at that time because I was going through a lot. Whatever. This cat was trying to kill me, man, and I was like, yo, and you came through like, yo, listen, we're gonna take care of this, whatever, boom, whatever. But I know you felt like, you know what I mean, because of what happened that, you know, because you helped me out and it kind of didn't go as it's planned, whatever. But give us a little bit about anything that you've experienced as far as does PTSD. I mean, do you ever? I mean, I know you've been through a lot. Okay, we know we've been through some things, not just military, but you've also had your war on the streets. So, I mean, does any of that affect you long term? Do you have nightmares? Does any of that stuff ever you think about that stuff and it impact you in any kind of way?
Nightmares, anything like that? Nah, I can't say I've experienced that thing. You know, I think, and I have to say that what I consider my PTSD is not diagnosed, but I think it's something that is real for me. And it's more so when I come into a place, I'm looking at where the exits are. I'm looking at who's here, who's around me. And I think that might stem from, of course, my time away and trying to basically educate myself on my surroundings. The military wasn't. I don't think my PTSD came from the military. I mean, guns and things like that. That was my thing. First time I ever got shot at, I was what four? No, I was 15 years old. In Edgecombe. We were doing some things that we shouldn't have been doing, and things happen. So when I got into the military, hearing guns, having guns fired at me, and things like that, it wasn't something new to me. The experience, I think, of going to prison was new to me, and that I think is where my PTSD stems from. And like Pratt, what I mean, you have these trust issues. And those trust issues stem from, the things that you see, the things that you've experienced, in that environment, whether it was military or otherwise. And I think that it shapes and molds not only how you react to other people, but how you allow people to react to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The mic is off.
I've
Mike,
noticed that I've noticed that you and Shane both put emphasis on trust. You know, because Shane talked about how seeing someone come in, DOA, whatever, but not seeing his team around, whatever, and it kind of affected him as far as trusting people. And you just told the same thing. I've never heard before you two have mentioned that before about trust being a form of PTSD. I've never heard that before.
Makes
Well, when you
sense.
think,
Honestly, for me, I think it's. I mean, being in the streets, that's just something that's part and parcel of what you're going through. You know what I mean? I mean, even like, when I was in the street, like CeeLo, I don't know if you brothers remember CeeLo, so was my
Yeah,
right
from
hand
Mount
man.
Vernon. Yeah.
But right, but you got to realize your right hand man don't want to be the right hand man all the time. You know what I mean? There's going to come that time when the man that's on the right side or your left side wants to be the man. So you're always, even though there's some level of trust, it's not total trust because you
Hmm.
have that in the back of your mind that, what I mean, there's the possibility that something could happen because somebody doesn't always want to stay in the position that they're in.
Gotcha. Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna allow Jada maybe try to help fix his bootleg drain in any event.
I'm going
But
to hop on my laptop, see if that works. Stop playing, man.
so we're gonna take a quick break. We do it for the culture video where our service matter. Give us a second. We'll be right back, and we're gonna come right back, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about PTSD, and we're gonna also talk about this whole the state policing in America, right? So we'll be right back.
Cool.
right. Welcome back to We Do It for the Culture Radio, where our stories matter. We're waiting for our boy Natural Outlaw to get his connection right. He got the bootleg connection going on over there. You know what I mean? You know, we joke on him all the time about his Fisher Price computer he got over there at the Essence Lounge over there. You know what I mean?
Jokes, man.
So hopefully, you know what I mean. Dropping down them oxtails. And, but in light of everything, can you guys mute your mics real quick so we don't have too much feedback? Until stop you. Just mute your mics real quick. Okay, so check it out. In light of everything that's been going on with the George Floyd situation, rest in peace, my brother. His death, along with Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery's death, has been shedding a lot of light. Not that it hasn't always been a lot of light on police brutality, the abuse of their power, just a lot of injustice and inequality in America, period. It's been brought to the light, and I think it's been a whole week or more of protesting, and it's causing people to react. It's causing even our lawmakers to say, you know what, it's time to do something about it. It's time to shake up some things. The way of doing things it's been outdone. A lot of the overseers back in the slave days have now turned into officers, right? So they brought that same mentality over. I heard somebody say, you know, about policing us, whatever, like, is it going to change, whatever? Are they going to defund the police, whatever? Defunding the police, I'm really not sure if that's the answer. Tina, let me ask you a question, Tina. Do you think defunding the police is the right thing to do? Because I know I know you've talked about, all police are not bad. So you got a little different view than I think. I think they're all.
Oh no! Don't you pigeonhole me into no
Blue
kind of
Lives Matter.
No. Let's not go there. I'm just saying, I say there's no entirely bad of anybody. Like, this is the kind of mentality that's got us where we're at, where they're like, like all black and brown people are messed, are like hood rats. Like, okay, I am, but I mean that doesn't mean that don't mean a whole lot. But like, no, I just don't like that idea that all of anything is anything. I just don't believe that. But I do believe we have good officers out there. It's just we have bad ones, but the bad ones are the ones are like ruining lives.
But if those good officers aren't stepping up and saying something about those bad officers, they're bad officers as well.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. They once they don't say something, if they see something that's happening and they don't stop it, yeah, they have now crossed the line into bad officers as well. I'm talking about the ones who've never been in that situation, like, or the ones who may possibly say something.
But it's more than that, because I mean, even like cops, when they get ready for work, they come to work with their regular civilian clothes on. They go into the office, if you will, and they go to that locker room. In that locker room, they're talking. You know what I mean? And I have a friend of mine who has been an officer for about 26 years. And he was telling me that he went into the locker room and that it was a dude that said, "Oh, I'm going to go into the jungles today." And he immediately corrected him. Because now, if you're saying in the locker room that, "Oh, I'm going to go into the jungle today," what lives in the jungle? Animals. So you're equating these people who live in this particular place that you're supposed to be patrolling as animals. Now, had my friend not said anything, you know what I mean? Honestly, he would have been complicit in that activity had something gone on. So when we say nothing, whether it's I didn't see it, you know what I mean, or even if we hear it, we need to say something. Like right now you have, I mean, throughout the country, actually throughout the world, you have all these people who are protesting because of what's going on. And honestly, in many of these places, they're predominantly white people. So my question then says, well, if it's predominantly white people who are out here protesting and doing all these different things because they recognize that something's a problem, then that means there must be a majority that are the quote unquote racists who are perpetuating these things. But if these people who are out there protesting know who these people are and don't say anything, you're the problem. You're the problem. Because we all know whether it's an auntie, whether it's an uncle, you know what I mean, that has, those racist tendencies, and we say nothing, we're complicit in that activity. We're complicit in that activity.
So we don't necessarily know where they're not saying something.
We can't get by anymore with just saying, oh, that's just Aunt Edna, she's just like that. Oh, that's just Uncle James, he's just like that.
Yeah,
we can't get by either.
If you can, all right. Have you ever had an Uncle James in her? I haven't.
My grandfather does not like white people, but it's based on the experiences from the South that he had with white people. It's understandable whether it's right or wrong. It's understandable because of the situations that he's had with those people.
So do you argue with him?
I most certainly do. I say something and he tells me exactly that. You don't know what it was like. You don't know what I went through, and I have to understand that, and I gotta respect that. I have to respect that.
Is he saying all white people are bad?
Not at all. What I'm saying is the people that he's come in contact with, and because of that, he's guarded. He's guarded.
So do you argue with him every time he talks bad about white people?
In my own way, yes. But when you're talking about a 75, 76-year-old man, he's not gonna change.
My dude, you just said we gotta argue with your aunt and our uncle.
Yes, we do. But when we're talking about somebody who's 75, 80 years old, do you expect that person to change? Do you expect me to say, hey, granddad, take away from the fact that, the KKK killed your father. Take away from the fact that, when you were down south, they did this to you. You saw these things. You know what I mean? Of course he's going to be guarded. He's going to have these issues. You know, my father passed away not on his own, but because he had some help by some people who didn't look like him.
So by your own definition, then you're complicit.
Say it again?
So by your own definition, you're complicit.
Am I conflicted?
Complicit.
Complicit. Oh, complicit.
You by your definition.
Hold on. You're echoing. Am I echoing now?
Nah. I don't hear.
I hear echo, but it's not me.
Okay. Can you hear me echo? Okay. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Okay. Let's try unless they're speaking. Okay. So let me say this. Is defunding the police, is that going to change things? Is that a good idea?
Hell no. What is that going to do? What is that going to do? You're taking away the money, okay, but it doesn't change an attitude. It doesn't change the way that people are going to, react to a certain situation. Hell no.
Okay, so are you saying that they need better training?
Am I saying they need better training?
Yeah, because I heard on the video the other day that a barber has more requirements than a police officer. You need more training to become a barber than you do to become a police officer. So I don't think training is virtue.
Yes, Tina. It's like.
And the reason I don't think training is because you have people who are bombing churches, committing mass murders. They're taking these people in without no problem. That tells me right there that they know how to apprehend the person without killing them. Training is not the issue.
I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Calvin, can you mute everybody else?
Yes.
Yes, natural.
Echoing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it just me?
I think it's natural. So who's is like causing the ruckus.
Yo,
love you.
Cut your mic back on.
I think you gotta mute when you're not talking.
That's how I was back in the day.
They defund
Yeah.
the police. What are they defunding?
Wait,
They were
Calvin, can you
talking.
say what you were saying again? Because I really didn't hear anything you just said.
They were talking about defunding the police and taking away their funding. A lot of people thinks that defunding is not the way to go. They're thinking that um, maybe more training should be
Right.
done to
Let
become a
me
police
chime
officer.
in.
Because what was that, Shane?
I don't think
Let me
so.
chime in real quick. Because when I first heard that, I took it literally, and then I Googled it. It has been done before on a small scale, and what it was about was that the issue was from the top down. So it was a small town. They defunded the police because it was all through the police department, right? I guess they decided that it was so deeply rooted from the top down that they were going to start over again. So it wasn't like they just said, okay, all y'all fired without a plan. They basically moved those guys out and moved some folks in, and then they regulated it to where there was some checks and balances. So I think that that's the answer, right? Is to hold them more accountable, right? And to regulate them a lot stronger. You, so to have more checks and balances and accountability as well. Because I
But
think a large
regulate?
part,
How do you regulate a beat cop, a cop that's on the street? You can regulate somebody in an office because you can see him. You can't
regulate them
regulate an
like
officer that's sitting out, in the community. How do you regulate that? The only one that can regulate him is the person that's sitting next to him, his partner.
exactly. And that's the accountability part of it. So you regulate it because now they have body cams, but some of these cops are getting away with turning off their body cams, right?
Right.
And
Yep.
so there should be a heavier penalty for something like that. You understand? So it has to come from the top down. The regulations have to be firm because what else is there but the police? They talking about sending in the National Guard. That's a fucking joke. The guardsmen that I know, they might as well get they might as well get my sons and give them a uniform and a helmet and gun and send them
Right.
out there and tell them to go police.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
them
They weekend
motherfuckers don't know what
warriors.
they're doing. They literal weekend warriors.
Yeah.
They don't
They
know
really are.
they don't know shit about it. So that's ridiculous. If they thinking about sending a National Guard in there to do what? All they are is
You still have to think though. You still have to question like how can it take you more training hours to be a barber than to be a policeman? There's got to be some.
Well, I read something about that
You can't
recently.
fuck the lineup up, guys.
I
well. Let
was
me tell
reading
you.
I was reading about that recently. I was reading
Yeah,
about
it's
that
crazy.
recently about how like there's like how like they have like what is it, like 8 hours of like de-escalation training, or like the amount of hours that they have to do for the stuff that's besides shooting and besides like whatever. It's just like I think that this stuff has to be renewed. Like we have to keep I'm a teacher and I'm constantly being trained,
Right,
constantly
right,
constantly being trained. And it's just like I feel like it's like you become a police officer and you're going to have people's lives in your hands. You need to have constant training too. And like like and it's kind of sensitivity training and kind of I get it. I don't I do not envy a police officer's job. I do not. It's scary.
okay,
I've watched those body cam shows. It's freaking scary. Like
yeah,
I would never be able to do this job. However, like there's got to be a way to help keep them in connection with life. Like it's like they see all of our dirt. They see when husband beats wives or wives beats husbands. They see when somebody gets raped. They see when somebody gets murdered. They see all the nasty underbelly of our society. And they're human. So
okay.
I can understand why they get jaded.
We see that.
Yeah, but not every single day, all day, for all day.
They don't see that all day, every day either. Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
Well, not
Honestly,
the ones in the cushy cities.
living in, various hoods throughout this country. You know what I mean? We see, domestic violence. Kids see domestic violence. Kids see pimps. Kids see drug dealers. Kids see, you got kids who can tell you how many grams are in an 8-ball and they're 8 years old. Let's be honest. So they see these things. The problem with police is that because they see these things all the time, they become desensitized. And therefore, empathy and sympathy no longer play a part. And therefore, it's easy for them to do what they do because they no longer see you as a person. Say it again?
That's PTSD, basically.
No. PTSD is because you've gone through something. You know what I mean? They haven't gone through something. They came from outside of your community.
If you see something too, right? It could be something you see too, Jay.
Say it one more time.
It could also be something that you've seen because PTSD.
How can I explain? What is it that a cop, I guess, in my opinion, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm biased. You know what I mean? I'm not like pro-police because of my own experiences. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I recognize that, yes, it is a difficult job. But honestly, right now, it's a difficult job being a black man in America. That's a difficult job for me.
Yeah, but one doesn't take away from the other.
One doesn't take away from the other. Sure, it does.
No, absolutely it does not. No, it does not. No, you can still. You're
on a panel right now with 4 black men. Our experiences are much different than yours.
What am I?
You're a woman.
What the hell does that mean? So I'm more likely to be raped. So yeah, congratulations. So wait, hold on. So what I'm saying is that I'm not saying that a black man. Believe me, it's very obvious that black men are in a terrible position almost always when dealing with authority, right? That there's no question that that's true. What I'm saying is that doesn't take away from the fact that other people have their own experiences. It doesn't take away from the fact that okay, so how many horror, we sit here and it's just like, we can't forget that people are human. And that's if we forget people are human, then we forget how to get to them. So we need to get to these police officers. We need to get to the ones, not the ones that are so far gone that they've already lost everybody else. I'm talking about the ones who are still who we have to still remember people are human and have emotions and feelings, and we have to be able to get to people. We can't dismiss the entire police force because some people have done horrible things, and they have done horrible things. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta keep that together.
You're talking about the humanity of people who are showing no humanity toward you. I can't. That's something I personally can't.
So check this out. Look. Most of us only know what we see, right? And so one argument is that, okay, it's only a handful of police and most of them are good cops or what have you, right?
Precinct.
And so the rebuttal to that is that okay, if the good cops need to police or wrangle the bad cops and what have you, it comes back to accountability because the thing that pissed people off the most is like they understand that no matter what the job is or the profession, you're gonna have the good ones and the bad ones. But if the bad ones are clearly caught on camera, clear as day, and they get paid leave and they get transferred and they don't fucking go to jail, that's what people are pissed off.
Where's the humanity in that?
It wasn't until people started really making some fucking noise until this shit really jumped off that they even arrested these dudes, right? It took a whole minute for them to arrest these motherfuckers in Georgia. That's what the issue was.
Well, I think I agree. I agree with you, and I think that not only do they need to be held accountable, they need to go down for murder charges. They need to that's the thing. It's just like you can't have negligent homicide or some bullshit. Like, no, you murdered that dude. You murdered him. He's murdered. There's no other question about it.
How do you replace policing? Because a lot of people think we could police our own communities. How do you replace policing?
No.
Is that possible?
It's too
No.
much. It's too
No.
large of a country to do so. You
gotta
fuck all the
have
people
You
up.
can't say why can't you? Why can't you? I mean, honestly, let's talk about the Black Panther Party. They police their own communities against the police. You know what I mean? Drug dealing, pimping, and all that stuff, especially in Oakland, California, ceased to exist in certain spots of the community because they police their own. You know what I mean? Because they recognized that they had a force outside of the community coming into the community, creating havoc.
Right,
You know what I mean?
if you're gonna use the Black Panthers as that, then they basically it was too much of the police to handle, right? So who got involved? J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI, right? And all they was doing. It's like we're gonna start speaking rioting again because the FBI is doing what J. Edgar Hoover did.
But I think there was much more involved than that, of course, at the time, because you had so many things going on all at once. Right now, we're dealing with this pivotal issue, you know what I mean, basically of the police and how their relationship is with the Black and brown community. And it's a very strained relationship. And the thing is, when we talk about humanity, the humanity or the lack of humanity is not from the Black and brown community, but it's coming from the other side, coming into the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not going, most of these places where folks are getting shot or things are bad happening to them, they're in their community. We have people who are coming from outside the community, supposedly to protect and to serve, and they're hurting people. And we're supposed to sit down and say, well, it's okay.
Even if it was the Panthers, right? It's still an organization. And when you have an organization, it has to have structure, because it's not just, somebody's got a gun. It's the domestic violence issue. Whatever the case may be, you're going to have rogue individuals. And those people are going to have to be held accountable, because you might send a Panther to somebody's house to handle a domestic dispute. He flip out on the dude, like, how you put your hands on a woman and shoot him in the face. And so now what? And now what? You know what I mean? Where's the accountability with that? It's
going to go both ways, right?
Right.
I firmly believe that power is corrupting. Power is corrupting, even small level power. You all know that one little person in your community who has a modicum of a little bit of power because they I don't know, like they're a local representative. Like literally in the grand scheme of things, they're nobody, but in their community, they're somebody. And they start to exert their power. Power is corrupting. It is corrupting.
They say absolute power corrupts, right? The one thing I have my problems with the Air Force, but I had things that I liked about the Air Force. The thing about the Air Force was there was regulations, and so nobody was above. Of course, you're going to have corruption, right? But if the regulation says this, I could always refer back to the regulation. And so if you try to railroad me and tell me that an apple is an orange, I'm like, nah, pimpin'. You know what I mean? And I know who to go to. You know what I mean? That's if you know your rights type of thing. And so is it a flawless system? Of course not. Like I said, there's always going to be corruption. There's always going to be racism. You know what I mean? But accountability really is what it's about. You got to have, even the president has to have a boss, in other words. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Do the guardian angels still exist?
What?
Hell no.
They gone?
If they do, they're not out there.
Say it again?
Do they still exist?
Not that I know of.
They'll get fucking dudes play with guns too much in the street for a guardian angel to jump on you and be beating your ass. They'll fucking bust their gun all day on those dudes. They can't fuck with the streets. It's like the 80s.
Well, that's the whole problem, is that people are fucking with the streets.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, like what they need. So they need the de-escalation class, they need conflict resolution classes, they need training.
And therapy. I'm dead up. They need therapy. Like you
that takes me back to
accountability, bro.
That takes me back to PTSD.
You start fucking with people's money and their freedom. That's accountability.
Let me
with their money and their freedom. They gonna
let me. I want to be. Can I ask you and JT a question real quick? Because y'all both was in the military. Let me ask this question: how often is friendly fire really friendly fire when one of the military guys get killed? Because I see them use that as a cover up a lot of time. Oh, he was hit by friendly fire. Because I got a friend that was killed in the Marines. His name was Eli. You probably don't remember Nick and Eli.
I knew Nick and Eli.
But Eli got killed, whatever, white Marine. They called it friendly fire, but no one really found out the truth. How often is that really used as a cover up? Friendly fire.
Honestly, in the Air Force was a support force. There's a lot of misnomers about the Air Force. People think that we mostly fly, we mostly pilots. Only 1% of the Air Force are pilots. Everybody else supports the Air Force, and we were more. Supports the flyers. We were more of a corporate force, right? So all I could tell you is what I heard about the Army. I knew cats that was stationed with the Army, and they say pretty much, depending on the base, the Army is the wild, wild fucking West. they call there's a base in Fayetteville, I think North Carolina. They call that shit Vietnam because niggas get shot all the time.
That's where he live at.
They got gangs on the base. On the base. In the Air Force, it's like zero tolerance. You smoke weed, you out of here, shit like that. In the Army, you get 2 or 3 slaps on the hand first or whatever. They'll take your stripe, but they'll give it back to you. And so they realize that they're raising killers, so they allow them to give them more leeway. So if you get an Army cat on the panel, he could probably speak a little better to it. Because remember that one Army dude? I think it was Army. He was a football player, right?
Yeah.
He gave up his career. I can't remember his name. Gave up his career.
Pat
Tillman. And he was special forces, and he got shot, right? And they were saying, it was it was friendly fire, whatever. It was a mistake. Well, I heard that the real story was his training wasn't that tight. He was fucking up, and he was giving up their position. So they shot his ass. They shot him.
I believe it.
I believe it. He came in there playing Weekend Warrior. He wasn't ready for the fight. It was a nice little story, but he was compromising the rest of them. He was giving away their position. So
I mean, in that respect, of course. I mean, if you're gonna compromise the unit, you gotta go. It is what it is. I think in the Marine Corps, honestly, I think it's a little bit differently. That does it happen? Of course it does. But usually in the Marine Corps, it is literally friendly fire. It's not because somebody wanted to kill you, and it depends on the rank. Usually, second lieutenants in the Marine Corps, we really don't like them much, only because we call them butterbugs. Honestly, most of them, they went to college, and they came in as an officer. So they didn't go through the ranks. But here you are trying to tell me what I need to do and all these other things and put me in harm's way while you back at headquarters. So they might get something, whereas somebody else, it's different. The Marine Corps, without a shadow of a doubt, it is not I don't consider it to be a support force. They teach you straight up and down to kill. That's it. Yeah. There's nothing else. If you're admin, if you're 03, 11, it doesn't matter. They teach you to kill, period. There's nothing else to discuss. So I think that friendly fire for the Marine Corps, if you get killed by friendly fire and you're like not second lieutenant or something like that, it probably was friendly fire. Second lieutenant are usually dicks, man. They're usually dicks, honestly.
So with everything going on, I see they're passing a new something like police reform, whatever, where they saying they can't use chokeholds anymore, whatever. So I think the protesting is getting some results. Now, how much results they're gonna get and how long this is gonna, but I don't know, but I know that it is affecting some type of change. Probably more change than we've probably seen in a long time. I'm hoping that the momentum. I'm hoping that the momentum can keep going on because this is what we needed the most. We needed people of other ethnic groups to step up with us. We needed them to get on the front line with us because it didn't
Hell
help.
yeah.
A couple of other things that's happening. They taking out Confederate flags, monuments. They got the fucking NFL apologizing to cats.
Do though? What does that do? I mean, honestly, does it change a person's heart about dealing with black people? Does it change, a person's idea about what black and brown people have gone through and what they I guess are dealing with? It doesn't. Personally, I think that doing all these things, man, honestly, just placating the masses. You placating
No,
the
I
masses.
don't. I don't agree.
Because here we are, understandable, but here we are, 2020, and we're talking about the same thing that happened back in 1965. Ain't nothing changed. Here we are decades later going through the same exact thing that our grandparents and great grandparents went through. It's just a little bit more covert. But with dudes stepping on dude's neck, that was obviously overt. But when we look at all these things, it's like, well, what is it that we're expecting to get? When you're talking about Cal, you say, oh, we got all these people who are coming to help us, and who? When you look at that stage of
You just said a mouthful, Jay. You just said a mouthful. So tell me this: what's the solution? You just said a mouthful. What's the solution? What do we do then? How do you feel like we get results? Do you feel like we go Rambo? Go Rambo? That's what I feel like.
we wouldn't win. Going Rambo, we wouldn't win. We wouldn't. Honestly, they got the government. They got more guns than we got.
There's casualties in every war, right?
However, you got to understand this. I think that knowledge is always power. So if we have the ability to have knowledge, we know and understand what our rules are. That was one of the best premises of the Black Panther Party. They knew the laws, which allowed them to carry the weapons that they carried, and then the law enforcement couldn't stop them. Like here in Washington State, you don't need a gun permit to carry open carry. You can open carry all day, every day. It is what it is. But most people here in Washington don't know that. Now, my question is, now, if I see an officer, first and foremost, when I walk out of my house, my first premise is to come home later on tonight. All right? Now, if I get to a point where an officer is pulling his gun, and he's basically threatening my ability to come home to my family, I'm going to threaten your ability to come home to yours. That's how I feel. I have never been that type of person, honestly, who can just take an ass whooping. I can't. Now, in the fray of that, while you're giving me one, I'm going to be giving you one. I'm not going out like that. That's just me. I'm not marching. I'm not protesting. I'm not doing any of that stuff. Because personally, it's done nothing for us for all these years. You look at the stage. You look at the stage for Martin Luther King. You see all those people up there. You see the Native American people. You see some Asian people on the dance with them. You see all these people. And honestly, this is just my opinion. Every single time certain groups of people use the civil rights movement or use any other movement that deals with black people, once they get what they want, they leave us. They leave us. Right now in Washington State, we have the Native Americans who have massive land. Who have massive land and casinos. None of that money gets kicked back to black communities that assisted them with the civil rights era. None of that. Those are communities that have entire communities to themselves. Hey, we got that right down in New York. How was it back in the day? We want to get some clothes made. Where did we go? We went to Chinatown, got our clothes made, got fresh, and left. We didn't hang out.
Hey, what about boycotts?
I don't believe that either. Honestly, I believe that. Let me say one thing, Calvin. You get that. I believe this. Honestly, for right now, one of the worst, I think, things for us as black and brown people, honestly, was when we decided to, hey, let's all get together and kumbaya. That was one of the worst things we could have done. Our house was in disarray, and here we are coming to help you fix your house. That doesn't make sense. The idea was, let us get our stuff together first. first. When we have our own infrastructure, when we have our own hospitals, we have our own police forces, we have our own type of government, then we can come and say, hey, let's see what we can trade. Let's see what we can do with one another.
That's
We have that though.
that's
We have
exactly what
that.
I was about to ask Maine. Do you think we could have another Black Wall Street like we had in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Rosewood?
Absolutely. Absolutely we could. But you just gotta have the right mind state. Like we can talk about it, but you have to put action into play. You know, you got to get people on the same thinking plane. You got to be on the same page. If I want to open a business, then the next door neighbor who's black should be able to want to open a business so we can make trade and
That's
things of that
Atlanta
nature.
though, ain't it?
Huh?
Ain't that what we got in Atlanta?
What's
Well,
in Atlanta? I'm not up to speed.
Ain't Atlanta Chocolate City?
you can call it what you want. It ain't
I
a
could
Black
call it
Wall
what you
Street.
want. It ain't Wall Street.
But that's
It's
supposed to
something
be
else.
it though. That's supposed to
I
be
don't
Black
know.
Wall Street. No?
Yeah, so
Okay.
so wait, so it's before we Wakanda this shit, right? You need to you need to start. The problem is that the structure is not, it's not built by us. It's not built up by us or for us. So you can't have this isolated island of, okay, this is only for whatever. So yes, unfortunately, and it's not until white voices join black and brown voices before people start listening, and white voices finally started to step into the conversation. And so I disagree that you can't change people's minds, because you can. I don't know how many people that I know that are like that didn't have any, didn't, were white and who didn't understand like what people go through in other cultures.
Yeah, yeah.
They didn't understand. There's so many that came around and were like, "Oh my god, like I had no idea that this is
Yeah,
what
that's
your
true.
day to day was like." And they were like, "This is crazy. This is wrong." And those are the people that are going to the rallies.
My
So
phone's about
no,
to die.
you can't you can charge it,
Plug it
man.
up.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, so we can't dismiss the help of other people. And we can't dismiss
Cal, we're
the
gonna
fact
have to
of
talk about the elite next time. Cause I mean they run everything. They the puppeteers.
For
Mhm.
sure, for sure.
The 1%. I don't know if you already had that one.
No, we haven't had
No,
that
we
conversation,
didn't.
but she ain't coming in on that one next week.
Yeah.
Well, yo, we're gonna take another quick break and we're gonna close out the show with a little. We're gonna talk about some solutions, whatever, and just try to maybe put a put
Where
a cap on
natural
it,
go.
whatever. Yeah. He'll probably get back in. We'll be right back. We do it for the
Laptop
culture
out
video
here.
where
I gotta
our
go get my power
stories
cord.
matter.
My power cord.
Plug that shit up, man.
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to We Do It for the Culture video where our stories matter. If you've been listening, we've been talking about PTSD. Um, and how not just the military, not to say that the military isn't probably the most, recognized when it comes to PTSD, but we've talked about, people, other people being able to get PTSD, whether you've seen some stuff on the streets, whether you've been through some things on the streets, whether you've seen stuff go through with family that's caused you PTSD as you're in your adulthood, domestic abuse, whatever the case may be. PTSD is real, is recognized. I think it's a form of mental illness, to be honest with you. But we've also been talking about, what's been going on as far as policing in America. What do we do about defunding the police? How will we police ourselves? When you think about it, I don't think that training gets the issue, because if you can bring in an unarmed man or unarmed mass shooter, that shows me training is not the issue. It's just when you got a black man that can get pulled over for a taillight and get shot, that's something. But training is not the issue. When you've shown me on more than one occasion that you can bring in a mass murderer or somebody who killed multiple people without any harm, that shows me that training is not the issue. You choose to use your training when you want to use it. So where do we go from here? The whole George Floyd situation. Shane, where do we go from here, man? Take your mic off. Take your mic off mute. Is that me? Is that you? Okay, go ahead, Shane.
Can you unmute him?
Yeah, I think he's good. Go ahead, Shane.
Yeah, I mean, I stand on what I was saying earlier. I think accountability starts from the top down, because if you hold the boss accountable for the shenanigans of the troops, they're gonna fall in line. And again, when you affect people's money and their freedom, meaning these cops, whenever they do that shit, if there's more accountability, these cops start going to jail for that shit, and they know it. It'll immediately stop.
Yeah.
The cop that was on George Floyd's foot. I saw his lawyer was talking to this commentator today, and he was talking about certain things. Of course, he's speaking for his client, and he's saying that his client had like 4 days of training, and Chauvin or whatever, of course, was running it because he was the most senior officer. So the young dude, was afraid to challenge him, but he was suggesting to him, "Hey man, should we roll him over on his?" And he's got his body cam audio. He's like, "Do you think this?" He's like, "Well, Chavez shut him down." Was like, "No, we're not gonna roll him over." And so he said, "What about this condition?" Because apparently there's a medical condition whenever you're hyper and you're on your stomach like that for a long time, and somebody's laying on you or what have you, right? So he said, "What about this?" And he shut him down. So at the end of the day, now it's just like in the military. Jay know this it's called the law of armed conflict. No matter what the person's rank is, they cannot give you a unlawful order, or you are accountable for your actions. That becomes a war crime. If someone tells you to commit an unlawful order, you can disobey that order. You're accountable. You're accountable for your own actions.
Tina?
I think that in addition to holding people criminally liable, I think civilly liable. I think honestly, and I hate to say it because because it all comes down to money. If people are able to sue for money for all of this stuff, and people are getting millions and millions of dollars for unlawful deaths, for whatever, that's when people start paying attention. I think that's when people are going to start, or police precincts are going to start paying attention, if they're paying millions of dollars out for constant.
They already are.
But they are doing that.
Well,
It's just that
that,
we're not hearing about it because part of that is that they have to sign an NDA, so we don't know how
Right.
much they're getting. But that happens.
But I
Quite
mean,
a
like,
bit.
so do you think that these police officers, like, I just paid like $6 million out because Tina decided, she was going to do some craziness as a police officer, that those police officers continue. My problem with this Chauvin person is that this person had like 5 or 6 already,
Yeah.
they were infractions already. It's just like, how many before you get fired? I'm a teacher. If I had 2, I'd be gone. Like,
I know he's shooting people and everything. He's been shooting people.
Like, how
Crazy.
like, where's the line before you're like, all right, dude, you're not meant to be a police officer. See ya.
But that's
Bye.
Minnesota. That's Minnesota for you. They've been killing blacks over there. They've been harassing black. I told you a story when I lived out there for like 10 months. It was wild. It was race hate groups running the streets, skinheads and shit. And I'm coming from New Rochelle, New York, Port Chester, New York. There was none of that shit existing. Who knew about it? So, it's called a culture shock.
Don't go to
basically.
Northeast Connecticut either, because the Klan is heavy there.
Really?
Northeast Connecticut.
I'm near.
No,
I'm
Northwest.
near.
Northwest. It's Northwest. I'm sorry, Northwest Connecticut.
I'm near that shit.
I was driving through there one day, and I was driving behind like this like freaking pickup truck, and it had like the Confederate flag on it, and it had like all this stuff, and I was like,
in Connecticut.
I was like, where the fuck am I?
Yeah.
Where? What's happening? and then I found out like the Klan is heavy in the northwest corner.
But see, that's something that I can live with. It's like, if I know you don't like me for whatever reason, I got you. I'm good. You know what I mean? It's the people that you think like you who don't like you. Them the ones you gotta keep an eye on. I'm comfortable with the fact that, hey, you believe what you believe. I got that. I'm gonna stay in my lane. You stay in your lane, and we good. We good. I don't have a quick remedy for everything that's going on. Personally, I think that every black man, woman, and child who is of legal age should have a weapon. They should. You know what I mean? Because I think it number one, for me at least, I think it fosters the other person to have some semblance of awareness of you and respect. To know, like, hey, if I come at this person wrong, there is that possibility that this could happen.
Right. Yeah. The mic is off, Cal.
So Jay, that's where you, because I'm trying to get an idea. Where do we go from here? Is that your idea? Where we possibly should go from there?
I think that's one of the steps. It has to be. I mean, all throughout this country, we should have black and brown gun clubs teaching our youth how to shoot. You know what I mean? I bring my 10-year-old daughter and my son to go shoot. I bring my woman to go shoot. You know what I mean? Because they need to know. You know what I mean? Hopefully they never have to know. But the point is that we I think, as adults, need to give our folks the resources, you know what I mean, that we know, so that they can survive. So they can survive. You know what I mean? Shit, you guys know me from way back when. Dude, I'm carrying my weapon. That's just how it has to be. Because I am not going to put myself in a position where I'm not coming home tonight because somebody decided that they had a bad day and they're going to hurt me.
Oh, that worked out really well for Randall Castile, right?
Say it again?
Randall Castile was in the carrier. He died anyway.
His weapon was in his glove compartment. My weapon sits right here. Right here.
He just died sooner.
His weapon was in the glove compartment. As a cousin, the officer was telling him not to get the weapon. Mine stays on my head. Period. I need you to know that I don't want any problems, but if you bring a problem to me, I'm going to give you one back.
I think violence is violence. Wait, look, my daughter.
You're living in a world where you're trying to say that you don't want to deal with violence. Violence is being perpetrated against people who look like you every single day.
I'm
not trying to deal with violence. I don't to me, sir.
The problem is that okay. So my daughter is a licensed gun carrier. Her husband is a licensed gun carrier. Her husband's Jamaican. My daughter's black. So they actually switch classes. They gun whatever. And so, like, they were so excited. Two young black people coming in their classes. They were so excited because they didn't have like a lot of black people coming in, like teaching, like they were instructors for the gun licensing class. And so my daughter was like all excited, and I'm just like, right? I was just like, I hate guns. I hate them. I hate them. I don't want to see them. I don't want to be around them.
Guns are an inanimate object. It's just like anything else you have in your house right now. You can have a hammer sitting on your dresser right now. That's a weapon.
My hammer is not going
Until somebody uses it, it's inert. It does nothing.
Okay.
So Man the Menace, where do we go from here? From Man the Menace?
I don't know. We've been fighting like this for I believe in before Martin Luther King. And you still can't get through to the minds of these people that, hey, listen. Because we don't really want problems, right? Because you can see right now in protest that black people are huddling police officers and accepting them kneeling. And we just taking whatever we can to say, hey, listen, we don't want the drama. We don't want to be fighting with police officers, and to the point where, fuck it, I can't take it no more. I'm just going to grab a gun and we're just going to start, and just, it's like suicide in a way. So we know that we can't like beat the force. So there has to be some laws put in place that, like Shane said, once you do some shit like Chauvin did, go to jail automatically. I'm telling you, you want to give people the death penalty, give these motherfucking police officers a death penalty or two, and then we'll see where we go from there. If you can kill a person that you call a criminal, and you don't really know if he's a criminal or not, he could be innocent. We had that. They'll kill him anyway. We just did some shit like that a couple of months ago, right? The brother somewhere, I forgot what state it was in. But it's like, if you do that shit to one police officer, and you put this type of rule or some type of law in place across the United States, it should have calmed down.
But laws are in place now. They've been in place since. I mean, honestly, we're the only people right now in this country where laws are still being erected to protect us. We just had a law 3 months ago about a little less than a year ago that was passed about women wearing natural hair in the workplace. We're the only group that's still getting laws passed to protect us. My personal thing, stop looking for somebody to protect you. Protect your damn self. Protect your damn self. We're sitting here trying to appeal, sir. You know what I mean? For the most part, black people, you know what I mean, and brown people, we are what we call xenophilious people. We have a love of people. You know what I mean? For the most part, white folks are xenophobes. They fear people, which is why they come at you in the way that they come. You know what I mean? And so what I'm saying is, you know what? Now that I recognize this, when I see this, you know what I mean? Now I know I have to walk and deal with you differently. Personally, for me, I think one way to kind of thwart a lot of this is what we call de facto segregation. I'm not saying you can't come here, but I'm saying I'm going to spend my money with Shane. And Shane's going to spend his money with Man. Man going to spend his money with Tina. Tina's going to spend his money with Calvin. Now, if the white folks want to come in and spend their money here in my shop, more love to you. However, I'm not spending mine with you. When they recognize that there's no money being made, then things will change. Because Tina was right about that. It is always about money. That's what the whole segregation thing was about. They wanted that black dollar. Black dollar trumped your focuses that did that way back in the day, and people don't know that, was Sears and Roebuck. Remember, black people couldn't go into a store and try on a dress because no white person would want to wear it if that person tried to put the dress back. So they had to take it. Sears and Roebuck came up with this paper. They mailed it to everybody. Now black people could get stuff and all this other good stuff, and it was a big thing. You know what I mean? Because they could send stuff back if it didn't fit. Because the person that got it back didn't know if it was a black family or a white family. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things I think that go and play with all of this. We can't sit here and say, oh, things are going to be better. Things have never been better. Things haven't been better for black people. Black and poor people have always gotten the brunt of society. You know what I mean? And honestly, the police are nothing but enforcers for rich people. They're the enforcers.
But you can't throw your hands up.
I can't throw my hands up.
You can't throw your hands up and be like, "Oh, well, it'll never
What?
be
So you
better."
done with it?
No,
You
I'm
know what
not
I'm saying?
saying that. No. That's why I said de facto segregation. I'm gonna hit you where it hurts. I'm gonna keep my money amongst my people. I'm gonna keep my money amongst my people. Then you come holler at me
But
when
we
you got
don't.
blood
But
services.
we don't.
You
Though.
lying, rabbit.
We don't.
You
I
But
lying.
we
You
agree.
don't.
only got black guys. I know that, right?
I agree. We don't. We don't. And that's a problem. And that's a problem. But once again, that's a throwback to earlier days of how we were conditioned to believe that the white item is better than an item that's being sold, the same item is being sold by a black person.
Well, I was just watching that video today about the little kids that were given the black and the brown, the white dolls. Did you see that? And I was just so like I teach psychology in school, so like I show this video all the time. So and I was watching it again today, and I'm like, wow, like you put a black child in front of a white doll and a black doll, and you ask them which doll is the good doll and which doll is the bad doll, and they'll pick the white doll.
Because they've
As
been
a good
conditioned to believe so.
but it's a conditioning, right? So um, when I was first training for teaching, I was an intern in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and Bridgeport, Connecticut is predominantly black and Spanish. And so, like, I'm in this school, and there's predominantly black children in this school, right? And I'm in there, and I remember sitting there, and I'm in the back of the room, and their kids are on the computer, and they're ragging real hard on one of my students, and my student was very dark black, and the other ones were more brown black, right? And they were like, you are so ugly. And I'm like, what? And they were like, you are so black, like you are so dark. And I was so offended. Like I was like, because he's dark skinned? Like
Yeah, it's
I,
called
I,
colorism.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that because of the days of slavery, shit like that.
And I was like, what the hell? Like, you're all black. He's just a darker black than you are. What the fuck? I was so pissed. And I went into this whole rant. Because I was like, you were trained to believe, but not. And I'll end on this point. My mother is West African, right? My mother, all know Ray is Christy's father. Fuck as dick as he is, but whatever. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. So my mother, when she met Ray, was so like, oh my God, you got this black boy in here. I was like, and I'm looking at my mother. I'm like, you're West African. What the hell? Right? Dude, she was so upset that there was a black man or boy at the time, and like. I was just like, but that was my grandfather's influence. My grandfather my grandfather told my mother black was wrong. My grandfather was black too. But he convinced my mother that African American people were slaves and they were to be looked down upon. Meanwhile, that was my whole side of the family. I didn't even know I was half black until I was in my late 20s. Because my mother told me I was Portuguese. That's what I believed for a very long time. I didn't realize that my other half was Cape Verdean, which is West African. I had no idea.
So you never told your brother or sister.
Here's what I'll say. Have you ever had, growing up, have you ever had one of your friends who was, always in the trouble, always doing something bad, but they always had this protective parent who figured they can do no wrong, right?
Yeah.
That's what I feel like police unions are.
Out of here.
No matter how bad your kid is, no matter what they do, you swear they can do no wrong, and you're gonna protect them no matter what. And I think that is a bad philosophy.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing. The second thing is it's the vetting process. When you're vetting these people to be potential police officers, what is the vetting process? I mean, you can't. I mean, because you just can't. I mean, I know background checks is not going to tell everything, but come on, man. There's got to be. I know when you join the military. I know when Muffy joined the military. His recruiting office. They came to the house. They wanted to see what his family was like. They wanted to talk to my mom and stuff like that. Are these when they're vetting these police officers? Are they going to check their background? Are they willing to get
Yeah.
in to find out exactly? Are you a part of the Ku Klux Klan? Are you part of a white nationalist group? Because a lot of these police officers have now have the mindset. Okay, listen, the best way to be over to do what you want to do is to become a police officer.
I was reading an article.
The overseer went from the overseer to the officer. You know what I'm
Well, I
saying?
was reading an article the other day, and they were talking about like, and it really resonated with me because I was reading an article, and they were talking about some people go into the police force because this is their community, right? They grew up in this community. They want to help the community. They want to do stuff, and then they were like, and there's other people who go into the police force because they want the gun and the authority. They want that power, and they go in there for the wrong reasons, and those are the ones
Right.
that keep getting in trouble. Right, those are the ones
Right.
that keep getting excessive force. Those are the ones that keep getting like caught up because they go in it for the wrong reasons. They don't go in there to help that community that they grew up in. They don't want to go in there to help them. They want the power.
Or sometimes it's get back because some of those guys are punks in high school and shit like that.
And
They go
honestly,
right to the
how
academy
many
after that.
cops honestly from who grew up in the hood came back to police the hood?
None. I don't know anybody that grew up in the
Most of
hood.
the cops, honestly, especially they live somewhere else, and then they come into the quote unquote hood. You know what I mean, to do their thing. They're not living. They're not a part of the community. Back in the day, I guess it used to be like that when a cop lived on the corner. You knew that was Officer such and such. It ain't like that no more. It's not like that no more. I know in Yonkers, they used to have an incentive to try to get cops to live in Yonkers. Most of the cops that were in Yonkers at that time when I was there lived in Long Island. And they would come all the way to Yonkers to do their job, and they go back to Long Island. They have no vested interest in the community.
Yeah. So they're not vested at all in the community. They do their job, but they're not vested at all. They don't know anybody. They don't I mean that's that's a part of the problem. And I believe, like what Jay said earlier, I believe until you start hitting back, that's the only for me. I feel like that's the only way. I'm gonna say hit these motherfuckers back. Fight back. You gotta fight back because that's the only thing they're gonna respect. If not, you're not going home. These motherfuckers will kill you. Fight back because, like I said, there's casualties in every war, and right now we are. And no matter how you want to think of it, this is a war. You gotta fight back. You gotta fight back. If
Bring that
not,
war.
these motherfucking cops will kill you. And me and Maine and Tina, we were talking a few weeks ago, whatever. And I just wanted to, based on what you were saying, Jay, about these cops and their background. I said something. I caught a lot of flack for it after we got off the air, but I just want to reiterate. I automatically think that when I see a person of another ethnic group, I automatically assume you're a racist. That way, that way when I find out, that you are, I can't be disappointed. And now if you prove me wrong, okay, cool, that's fine with me. You know what I mean? That's a good thing. But right off the gate, because you already most likely they're already assuming I'm black, I'm a thug, I'm up to no good, I'm probably got a criminal past. They automatically think that about me. So, and as I was saying about a racist, whatever, I don't mind a racist. I have no problem with a racist. If you are a racist, that is perfectly fine with me. My problem is when you start to exercise racism. My problem is when you start to exercise prejudice against people of another ethnic group. Being a racist is not a problem with me. Just don't exercise prejudice. Don't exercise racism. And be cool because I am a racist. I'll let people know and tell you, I am a racist. And once you put that suffix on the end of it, IST, that means I'm just proficient at what I am. I'm proficient at loving my people. I love my race. I think my race is superior. That makes me a racist. I got no problem with it. I live up to it. I stand up to it. I'm a racist. So I have no problem with another racist of a person who thinks their race is superior. They think their race is better. They love their race. Because once you put that IST on the end of it, whether you are a violinist, a nutritionist, Whatever the case may be, you are proficient at what you do. You love what you do. I am a race IST, so I am a racist. So, but listen, I got no problem with a racist. Just don't exercise racism against me. Don't be prejudiced against me and my family, and we good because I don't exercise racism and I don't exercise prejudice. Tina, what you laughing at, Tina?
I
You bugged
can't.
out.
I can't. I can't.
That's real
My
talk,
race.
man. That's real talk.
First of all, wait, no. First of all, I don't. I am part of both races. My father's Portuguese, which he makes him European. My mother's West African, so I'm part of both races. So I can't be racist. I don't know, but like,
Which one are you more proud of?
I don't.
You just love your race.
I'm not more proud of shit. Like I didn't fucking
Which
do
one are you
shit.
more proud of?
My parents had sex. I'm
29
not
years.
proud
Come
of
on.
that. I don't have no fucking pride in what the hell my parents did. I'm here. I'm here. So that's like, so I'm like, I'm just here just trying to fucking run my shit. Right. So it's just like, so I guess it's just like, I defend people who are being put upon. No matter what it is, like it's just like, like I've learned. I've not had a whole lot of racism against me. I'm not. Most of the time, most people don't know what the fuck I am anyway. So I'm like Mariah. I'm like Mariah Carey. I'm like Mariah Carey. Don't nobody know what the fuck I am, right? I've got. When I got my nose pierced, I got Indian. I got like Sicilian. I got like you name it. People don't know what the fuck I am.
They thought I was Sicilian before.
But you know what? They don't never mess me up for white though.
Yeah, check it out. Listen. We gotta go. I want to thank Natural Allah, also known as JT, if you're from the hood, for coming on the show. He is the owner of Essence Lounge in Tacoma, Washington. If you're out there, go check out Essence Lounge in Tacoma, Washington. They got great food. The vibe is crazy. Go check them out. Thanks Shane Pratt for coming in. Airborne. For my man from the Air Force, whatever, he's from a PC great. Thank y'all guys for coming on, man. Y'all guys, anything you guys want to say before you go at all?
Nah, so love y'all. Hey, where y'all at?
It's definitely love.
Where y'all live?
No,
I'm in Danbury, Connecticut.
Would you have been?
He said, where you live at? Well, Tina, where you at?
I'm in Rhode Island.
Long Island?
Rhode Island.
Where you from?
I'm Danbury, Connecticut.
Connecticut?
Yeah.
I'm in Vietnam.
So you know.
It's Bill, North Carolina. Yo, I love y'all cats, man. We're gonna get about it, Tina, man. Say something about the people, Tina, man.
Peace and love. See y'all next week.
Peace out. We go for the culture video. Peace out.
Hey.